Aloha and welcome back to our 4th season here on Aloha Authentic, Hawaii's only TV show where we feature our own local artists, practitioners, kupuna, and anybody who shares about perpetuating Hawaiian culture. So welcome, mahalo nui. Hope you guys had a great New Year's. Before we get into anything, because this just popped up in my mind and before I forget, Aloha Authentic is proud to announce our new segment on KHON2 Morning News. Wake Up Today. If you already know who's in our studio, you can hear her. But KHON2 every Thursday on KHON2, Wake Up Today, their new morning talk show called Take Two. So at about 8:40-ish every Thursday, make sure you're tuning into KHON because we're there to share aloha with the whole state of Hawaii now. So we're super excited about that. Also, if you never knew, Aloha Authentic, for our 4th season here on Olelo, we have a new time slot. So every Friday, the first Friday of every month, our new episodes air at about 6:30 on Olelo Channel 53, and will replay itself every Saturday at 10:30. And unless there's a 5th Saturday, it doesn't play every 5th Saturday. That being said, my mouth is watering because the poi is on the table, so let's just get into our protocol before we get into our mo'olelo. If this is the first time you're tuning in, this is how the show goes. We get a bowl of poi, we get a plate of poke, and we invite you to grab yours because the whole point of this, Tutu always said, when the bowl of poi is open on the table, no negativity is spoken yati. Only the good mo'olelo that's gonna make sure that the poi stays ʻono, not the kind that's gonna sour them, but not the good kind sour, the bad kind sour, not the kind that has the white film, but maybe like the purple-green film. The white film stay good. That's penicillin, Tutu always says.
And the light pink one.
The light pink one. So make sure you get your bowl of poi, get your poke, and join in with us. Before we get into conversation, we have our Did You Know segment. So for this month, we're going to be talking about the Noni plant. So did you know that Noni in La'aulapa'au or Hawaiian medicine has many different medicinal properties and medicinal uses? There's 3 different parts in the Noni plant that is useful. The fruit, which is used for sore muscles, to rashes, to burns, aches, pains, even more crazy stuff like diabetes and high-low blood pressure. The leaves, if you have any type of muscle sores or pains, you put the leaf on top of the part of your body that is painful, and it helps to retract all the toxins from your body, and the leaf will even turn black and brown, so you know it works. And then the other part is the root. If you have any type of toothache, the root is good to help and heal that ailment. But a big cautionary note, and I did this, I believe we did Noni before, but the whole point of me doing this again is I continue to hear people around in our community that is promoting digesting Noni in many different ways, if it's the natural way or if it's through these new contemporary products. But I do have to put out a cautionary warning that Noni, with any type of plant in La'aulapa'au, to please be very cautious, and if you want to move forward to practice it, I highly recommend you to go get more advice from a La'aulapa'au practitioner or go to our university, which have a lot of kumu or teachers who are more knowledgeable about certain plants, because Noni is a plant that if you digest too much, it will be harmful, and there has been deaths recorded because of too much consumption of Noni. That being said, if it's of interest, we just recommend please go find out more. But to know that what Akua has given us in our nature is much useful to our lives. So before we go to any type of Western medicine, we just try to urge to use natural medicine and homeopathic means of healing prior to doing that. That being said, we're going to move that on the side because I'm so stoked to have in our studio my most favoriteest artist growing up as a little kid, Sistah Robi. Mahalo, Auntie. Thank you very much for coming.
Oh my God.
We was at the Hokus because of Kumuchinki had his his album up for nomination. I seen Sistah Robi and I told my friend I have enough energy and guts right now to run up to her and just introduce myself like the little fanboy.
And then he did.
And then I did, and I scored her to come on the show.
I was girlfriending right back at him. Saying, oh my God, I love Kamakapili, and he was surprised that I knew him. Of course I know you.
Oh, thank you.
And it was a pleasure really meeting you in Wala'auing and talking story in Waimanalo the other day. Oh,
you know what? That's all I needed for the show. Thank you guys. The show's pow. See you guys next month. That's all I needed to hear.
Oh, my little kindred spirit here. Just amazing how much we have in common and how much I admired you from Instagram, but I love what you do and could be happy to be on your show. Mahalo.
We talked a couple days ago to kind of get prepped for this, and I kind of just hoped that we had the camera running at that time because our conversation that I expected to be half an hour went on for like 3 hours.
Yes, it did.
And it was so ʻono. I'm so stoked. So we're taking bits and pieces of that conversation. We're going to be talking about it today on the show.
Yeah.
But mahalo, Auntie. I kind of, before we get into the different specific points, if you can just kind of share a little background about yourself, because I know that you are born and raised outside of Hawaii.
Yes.
So if you can kind of just paint that picture for us before we get into more talking points.
Okay, well, for those of you who don't know yet, my name is Roby Kahakalau, and when I used to live Waianae, I made a point at Kahakalau. Never been married. Why bother you? No, that's my given name. But my mom's name is Schmidt, Frieda Schmidt. So very, very German. So my mom is pure German. My dad is Hawaiian. And as I told your mom a little while ago, I was made in Hawaii, which is my claim to fame. And then when my mom was Hapai with me, my dad decided they wanted to go to Germany. So I was born and raised 18 years, 17 too many is usually my line, in Germany, which now I don't regret it so much anymore. But when I moved here, I so wish that I was like born and raised here in Hawaii. And because I wanted to be accepted as a local girl so bad. And I would get lines like, oh, for an Haole girl, you play good Hawaiian music. And again, wow, my last name, Kahakalau, why? The gloves
in your car.
Oh, and living in Waianae more so, I had that Waianae, hey, what? Attitude. But I just mahalo kua that, you know, now a lot of people know the story and I don't have to keep constantly defending that Hawaiian in me. And so being born in Germany, I really didn't know, we knew we were Hawaiian, but we didn't know what Hawaiians were like until I was maybe 17 years old. We met some Hawaiians that were stationed in the military, and I never forget, we met them and it was like, oh my God, where have you been all my life? Like, it was like meeting your own family. We weren't related or anything, but it just felt like this was the missing thing that we had missed all our lives. So my sister was the one who moved back first in 1979, and then I came back in 80, and brother in 81, and the parents in 82. But when we first met the Hawaiians, I never forget, they played Hawaiian music, and they were the kind of Hawaiians, they said, while they lived at home, it was like, rock, get me off the island, I want to go somewhere else. And then as soon as they went to Germany, they were like, oh, send us the Hawaiian music, send us Hawaiian food. And when you said poi, the first poi I ever ate was freeze-dried poi when we were in Germany, and I loved it. I was like, oh my God, yes, it's great. And then when I got the real poi, I'm like, oh, what was that? What was that freeze-dried? But it was good. I wasn't one of those people that said, oh yeah, I love the poi, it's great. But it instantly, I fell in love with fish and poi to the max.
Yeah. It's always funny when I have friends or family down from the mainland or talking to visitors, you know, to our islands, and I'll ask them, have you had Hawaiian food? And they say, yes or no. And then my first question, have you ever tried poi? And then just to watch the face on their face, because they want to answer, but they don't want to be disrespectful.
Yeah.
And to me, it's more humorous because I know a lot of people cannot stand the taste of it. But to me, that it's ʻono. You can go in anything or by itself.
But here's one story. It bothers me when people say, it tastes like wallpaper paste. First of all, have you ever tasted wallpaper paste? No. So how can you say it tastes like if you've never ate it, right? And then the other thing, if you go to, I don't want to say the names of the luau's, but some of the tourist luau's, they really do make it, you know, like where it looks like it looks like wallpaper paste, but it doesn't mean it tastes like it.
That's what I was just we talked about. We have poi, and one of my pet peeves with poi is when people put too much water and they try to stretch it.
See, this one doesn't.
When you flip them upside down, and that's how it's supposed to be.
And that's the difference between good poi and then what they call wallpaper paste. But I don't even think that one tastes like wallpaper paste because nobody ever tasted it. So, but poi is definitely one of the best things that ever. And did you know that poi is the only food that you can actually live on without vegetable? Like if you have potatoes or rice, you still need some vegetables on the side. Poi is the thing. If you have poi, babies that are raised on poi don't need. It has every nutritious fact in it that you can totally survive. Your body can survive and be healthy on poi alone. I
didn't know that. I don't know if it's the United States of America or other countries, but are recognizing poi as a superfood or taro now.
No, it really is.
Yeah.
It really is. I didn't know that until recently, that poi is enough to like not just get you by, but to have a healthy life on just poi.
Yeah.
That's why Hawaiian babies raised on poi. They look chubby and fat and good and healthy.
They look healthy.
Yes, they do. Yes.
So being,
pui.
Exactly. So being born and raised in Germany and spending so much years away, what was your perspective of Hawaiian culture or Hawaii in general?
Okay, while I was still in Germany, the Hawaiian friends that we had up there in the military, they were all from Waianae Nanakuli side, so that's why I had so much aloha and moved out there when I first moved here. But I remember the song Hawaii 1978 came out, and they had it on an album, and we listened to it, and I had never been here. I didn't know about the struggle and sovereignty and all those things, but I was like, yo, damn Howlers, take our land away. But I had never even been here, but the song already, it just, you know, it has to touch you. And the Hawaiians that we met, they were one beautiful people and had so much aloha. They would play makahasans, olomana, you know, the nice Hawaiian music. And from then on, I was just like, oh my God, this is my calling. If I ever had a calling, that was it. Hawaiian music and just Hawaiian things. And in Europe, if you, like, say you're from Germany, but you want to sing an Italian song, then you're going to learn at least a little bit of the language to know what the song is about. So here's the first song that I ever played from one of those albums was The Sons of Hawaii, Wahine Ilikea. And when I heard it, I asked the boys, I said, what does this song mean? And this is how they translated kalamai for the language. They said, oh, it means haole chick. They were 19 years old in the military, right? So they called, so in my head, Wahine Ilikea will always be haole chick. But I said, maybe we should call it like the white lady or the fair-skinned lady, I mean, a little bit nicer. But, and then I asked them what the song meant, and they said, oh, Auntie, nobody speaks Hawaiian anymore. And actually, they said, sister, nobody called me Auntie yet. And then I was like, but you can't, how can you sing a song if you don't know what it means? So in my head, I was already, I said, if I move to Hawaii, when I move to Hawaii, I'm going to make sure that I learn the language. And so that was my first involvement in Hawaiian things. But I remember landing, and when I was 18 years old when I came, and the day before I left Germany, I was like, oh my God, I'm leaving everything I know. I'm leaving my mom, I'm leaving my friends. What am I doing? And then the flight was fine, and when I landed, I smelled the plumeria at the airport, and I was walking, and I was like, oh my God, I'm home. And the only way I leave here is round-trip ticket, and so far I've kept my promise. And I haven't thought back. You know, I love Germany. It's a beautiful place to visit. And that's always what I tell them. You went to Germany, right?
Yes, I did too. And I remember we've already kind of built a relationship over Instagram, and so trying different things, seeing the different places. We went to different parts of Germany. So some, in my perspective, was much more pleasant than others. But I do have to say, German food is awesome.
German
Schnitzels,
beer?
German beer. No other beer has any touch on German beer.
You come to my house, that's one of the things I know how to make schnitzel.
Schnitzel, I don't even know how to explain it. It's like a really way
katsu.
better than a chicken katsu or whatever kind of katsu.
No.
But it's really, really
I make
ʻono.
for you.
And then the potato salad.
Yeah, I can make that too. I don't cook too much German stuff, but schnitzel I can make it for you.
Okay, I have to make note of that right now. Okay.
So back to the language or the culture thing. So when I landed, my dad and my mom were here in 1962. So they were telling me like, oh, you know, you can see like from Aloha Tower is the highest building on the island, and you can see the Royal Hawaiian Hotel from Ala Moana from the YMCA. Well, when I landed, I said, you can't, perhaps wrong, you know, it grew a lot. So in my mind, I didn't realize how much it had grown from what they were telling me. So I went to Tahiti one time, and when I got to Tahiti, I said, this is how I had pictured Hawaii, just way, not different, just not in the same time as when I landed. It was, to me, it was just a huge city. So when I lived in Honolulu, when I first got here, I stayed with my sister in Kaimuki, and I said, but where's the Hawaiians? And it was just a big town. And then I got to go to Waianae, and I said, okay, here we are, here we go. And I felt, people asked me like, aren't you scared to live out in Waianae looking the way you do? And I said, no, I get up. And I felt very safe, and I still do. Waianae people, West Side, is to me still God's country and the best side, and there's something so special about, you know, and the percentage of Hawaiians that live out there goes to show that it really is the last you know, source for Hawaiians to where they can go without being homeless, but just to live their life of
and feel comfortable, because there's a lot of places around our islands, and I always say Waikiki is a perfect example where Native Hawaiians feel uncomfortable, like we don't belong there, which is a really big problem.
And it's sad, it's sad because we should feel comfortable everywhere on the island. So it's, so anyway. Yeah,
well, in that, I mean, you've shared so much that I'm trying to, I don't know which question to ask first. Like, I'm just so excited. I don't know what to say. Bala'au Kahakalau. But I think where, you know, we all know you as Sistah Robi, play this beautiful music. Where did you get your background of music?
Okay, music, I guess my dad, my father was a jazz bass player he played with like Ella Fitzgerald, Count Basie, Billie Holiday, Benny Goodman.
That's it.
You name it, he played with them. And so growing up, we heard a lot of jazz, but in like 1959, he did this album called Hawaii Swings, and he took like puamana, like famous Hawaiian songs and made them into swing. But me not knowing that, I used to think Puamana was written by my dad. So we were in Waianae one time and we heard some other version of it. And then I said, hey, my dad wrote this song. And then he goes, what, your dad is Irmgard Aluli? And I'm like, no. But then my dad's song, and my dad goes, no, Roby, I arranged it. I made it. It's not my song. Roby, shut up. So I was mistaken, right? I said, oh, no, I thought you wrote it. But my brother fixed me up right away. What, your dad was Irmgard Aluli? Said, no, he wasn't. But so he took like the Hilo March and just nice, Kohala March, nice songs, and made it Hawaii swing. So on the end of the last song on all my CDs is songs by my dad.
You always have some type of jazz influence in
that's my pops on that album. So him being the Hawaiian in the family, but he already grew up in Boston, so he wasn't, and he was just into the jazz way too much. But he loved Hawaiian music, but we didn't know any Hawaiian music when growing up. But my sister and I played guitar for ever since I can remember. Not good, and my dad even told me, he said, "You never be a good guitar player, but you'll find a whole bunch of guys that can back you up." And he was so right.
And is that where Hawaiian Style Band came into play?
Hawaiian Style Band. Well, I met them translating something into Hawaiian. I was friends with Ernie Cruz and Troy Fernandez from Ka'au, and then Ernie told me he knows these two guys that have a band and they need some help with Hawaiian pronunciation. So I went to meet them, and then I did the pronunciation for the song, and I got to sing the song. And then Robbie Burns, who was the owner of Locomotion, the clothing stuff, and he said, he was the executive producer, and he said, why don't we have her sing on the album? And I was like, high five, Robbie. And that's how I got into the band. And that was my first recording after how many years of playing in Waikiki and playing in clubs. So
well, I'm sure if you guys out there, you reminiscing, that's the hopes that this just speaking with you in this conversation just brings up that vintage, or at least for me, is that vintage sound. Because
Hawaiian
even
Style
from
Band
then
was
till
good,
it's a whole type of music that we don't have today. I think in the Hawaiian music scene, it's just evolving to a different side of the spectrum. But I do miss that sound. So how did you get into do your own solo career?
Well, I've always had dream of singing and recording, and with Hawaiian Style Band, like I can't thank them enough. It was opening the door for the recording industry, because you can play music for decades literally, but if you don't get a recording, then you don't get that next step, to be on the radio and stuff. So Hawaiian Style Band will always be grateful for them to have that opportunity. But I had songs that I wanted to record, which the band not necessarily were into the same thing. So while we were still playing with Hawaiian Style Band, I started, I had this one song, which happens to be Makua, that I wanted to record.
We're going to sing that later.
And I remember that the engineer, Dave Tucerone, he said, well, if you come up with 14 more songs, then we can make an album. I said, it's going to take like 20 more years if I do that. But then I got some songs together, and it just happened. But I don't know if you noticed, some people, they come out with a new CD every year. Mine, it takes me forever. When I'm in charge, I'm a very horrible organizer. I'm really good at showing up. Like Hawaiian Style Band, they told me, be there at this time, sing this, boom. But when I'm in charge, it's just like,
Well, I totally feel you on that one. It is hard to keep up
It's horrible. It's horrible to be the person. My sister is a really good alakaian leader. She's the hiapa in the family, and a wonderful leader and speaker, Dr. Kahakalau. I don't know if you guys know her, but she's been out there for a long time and doing her thing. And she was just at the Iolani Palace the other day when you were there.
The 125th anniversary. So if you didn't hear it on the news, it was a really big thing.
Yes.
January 17th, 2018 was the 125th anniversary of the illegal overthrow of the Hawaiian Kingdom and our queen, Lili'uokalani, by the United States government. That was back in January 17, 1893. So that was a humongous event. And so much Hawaiian people were there.
I was at the march 25 years ago, and this year I was very bummed that I couldn't make it, but
you're there in spirit.
Yes, I definitely was, and my sister was one of the speakers at Iolani. So it's definitely chicken skin moment, and it was beautiful to see how the turnout of of everybody in support.
And with that, you get to see the difference, at least in my perspective, how sovereignty is stepping into in today's world. Back in the day, we had a whole different type of approach to protesting and sovereignty. Today we have much more, I believe, much more of aloha and peaceful approach to sovereignty. But speaking with you, you're saying how your sister is like that out there in front of the public and doing that, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But your approach is a little bit different.
Well, my sister has always been the ku'e, or stand up and stand against the system and the regime. She's been with the Kahakalau, Protect Kahakalau Ohana from day one. So she's been an old, what they call the protesting folks. But I have a hard time. I don't like confrontations. So my thing, when I would be asked, like, if I could come and ku'e with somebody or hold up a sign, I'm not good at that, because if somebody comes up to me and says, "Why are you holding the sign?" "Oh, because she told me." It's just, that's not right. But I will be happy to come and sing a song that talks about peace, that talks about having aloha, sharing aloha, that talks about the rights of Hawaiian people. There's so many songs, and sometimes I feel bad if the song is in Hawaiian because not enough people understand. So what I try to do now, and this is what Robert Casimira, for example, oh my God, Uluvehi, and Jerry Santos, one of my two of my idols that I've known since I was in Germany, when they can do a song, they sing a verse, and then they can just play the verse and explain what the verse means, not memorizing it, but they just go over what the song. I so want to do that, and I'm trying to do that now, and I'm not even as eloquent as they. Sometimes I stumble and I stutter. But people get the message. So, but I think it's wonderful when we, as Hawaiian musicians, sing Hawaiian songs and can. Sometimes I don't do it in the song. I do it before I sing the song, because it's really hard for me to play it and then translate it while like Jerry and Robert do. Yeah, they do it so well. So I explain the song before I sing it, and it's amazing how many people pay attention. Like when I play in Waikiki and tourists, they're like, "Oh, really? That's what the song is about." I never realized how much interest there was in actually people wanting to know the meaning of the songs. Yeah. So, since I speak Hawaiian, it's only easy for me to translate.
By the way, how much languages total do you speak?
Well, I grew up. My first language is German, jawohl, and then English from my papa, and then French in school, and then Italian and Spanish, and then when I moved here, Olelo, Hawaii was...
So 6 languages.
Yes.
My goodness gracious, I can barely speak English, let alone Hawaiian.
But I always say I'm like on a 200 level on all of them. My sister is the eloquent speaker. She's a doctor, she can do speeches. I'm more like the Vala'au, on the Vala'au level.
That's the Vala'au Kahakalau.
Yeah.
Well, my goodness, Auntie, 5 minutes, time went by so fast. We should have made this 1 hour special. But in just a couple words, because that's a perfect segue into... And Auntie's going to be singing us a song, and it's a perfect example of how you do your sovereignty movement with your music, with Makua.
Yeah. And how I mix up the English and the Hawaiian.
Yeah. So before we get to that, in just a couple words, in a couple seconds, what does aloha mean to you?
To me, aloha means, first of all, malama is definitely my biggest. I was just in Waimanalo yesterday at the beach, and so much opala. Everybody, can you just... malama aina, malama kikai, because that's what takes care of us. Our land and our water, our ocean takes care of us. And aloha kikahi kikahi, love one another. And love respect is in there. So respect and love each other, and just do, like the Bible says, do unto others what you want it done unto you, and see stumbling. And that's what aloha is. Aloha is just being good. Being good to the land, to the ocean, to each other, and respect one another.
Mahalo, Auntie. Well, that being said, because we're just getting pushed with the time. Time is our enemy on this show.
Thanks for having the stand ready.
Yes. So we're going to end out with Sistah Robi singing her song, Makua. So I'm sure all you old-timers out there, and even people who's my age, we remember this song. But with that being said, mahalo to everybody for tuning in. Again, tune in next month as we continue our 4th season. Remember, our new time is 6:30 on Friday, the first Friday every month, and then also every Thursday at 8:40 in the morning on KHON, Wake Up Today, Take 2. With that being said, aloha, ahui ho, and we'll leave it with Sistah Robi.
Congratulations, Kamakapili. He's an awesome boy, and mahalo for the fish and poi.
Hey, yo.
Now we take you out to Makua. Peaceful is Makua in the evening. Above us all the hoku shining bright. And once we're there, we never feel like leaving, to return to Honolulu city light. So we stay here in Makua, realize where we want to be. Now white sands and blue waters say good morning as we watch the night swim so playfully. They've come with the sun to greet us at the dawning of another sunny day for you and me. We lay our nets at the setting of the sun to find it full of i'a when the morning comes. And with the ua koko over us in Makua, for this whole island na mahalo e ke akua. Our magic is Makua, our aina, a land that belongs to you and me. It's the pu'uhonua for the kua'aina, a place where all Hawaiians should still be free. So we stay, oh we stay here in Makua, where life is simple and free. The mountain, the valley, and the ocean make us realize where we want to be. On another sunny day for you and me, in a place where all Hawaiians should still be free. In Makua.
Eo. With that being said, mahalo, ahui ho.
Mahalo.